Hello, all. Zamani, can we begin?
Yes, yes.
Hi, everyone. I'm Surbhi from YF Class of 2022. A very warm welcome to the presidential debate. Davidso Zamani is today's moderator from UG19 and the election officer for Election Commission 2025. I'm really glad to be here with all of you today and excited to see this election process come alive. Over to you, Davidso.
Thank you so much, Surbi, and good afternoon from Lusaka. I'm sure it's evening in India. Welcome, everyone, and thank you so much for taking time to participate in this presidential debate for the alumni elections for Ashoka University. I think the fact that we are meeting in this format for the second time just shows that how dedicated we are and how much we love plot number 2 in Rajiv Gandhi Education City. So I know and trust that everything that we're going to do today is really just for the greater good of Ashoka University and for us because we represent really what the university is. So to the presidential candidates, thank you so much again for taking time and to participate in this election. I think you participating is already a victory to show that you actually care for the university. So I will quickly run through the format and rules for today's debate. So, okay, thank you, Surbi. So the opening statements will run for 30 minutes. This means each candidate will have to introduce themselves and present their vision for the Alumni Council under 5 minutes. So please take note of that. You have 5 minutes to introduce yourself and present your vision to the council. And then at the 30 seconds before your time ends, which will be like at 44 minutes, 30 seconds, you'll be sent a reminder so that you can quickly wrap up. And then after that session, we're going to have two two common questions that will be applicable to all candidates, which I am going to throw to all candidates to respond, which are compulsory. And then each one of you is going to have 2 minutes to respond to that. And then after that, we are going to have a Q&A that will be moderated on the Zoom chat. You can either post or just raise your hand, and then I'll be able to notice you and ask you to respond. And then after which you'll be each given a minute to respond to each question. And then in the end, you will all have 2 minutes to give your final closing statement. And then for conduct and transparency, I'm sure we all know that we must focus on your idea, leadership, and vision, sorry, and not the individual. So even as you counter the other candidates, ensure that you attack the idea and not the individual. And then when I see that is happening, I have the authority as the moderator to cut you short and just take you back in line. And then time limits will be strictly enforced to ensure fairness. So please stick to the allocated 5 minutes time, especially for the opening statements. You'll not be given any additional time to finish your argument. And then just so you know, this session will be recorded and shared with the wider alumni community. And then all participants, attendees, and everyone that is on this call is expected to conduct yourself in a respectful and professional manner in line with the election code of conduct. So this is the order in which the candidates will speak. We'll start with Akshay Barik. After Akshay Barik, we'll have Koisho Roy, and then Rahul Maganti, Srinath Rao, Sushil Vagisi, and we'll end with Varun Agawal. Do we have to the candidates, do we have any questions regarding the format or anything else that I have mentioned in my opening? If you have no question, just give me a thumbs up, candidates. Okay, perfect. All the best to everyone, and I know we're going to have a very insightful and engaging debate. So, without much further ado, allow me to welcome Akshay Barik as our first speaker. Thanks.
Hello, am I audible? Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, David, for this. And thank you, the entire team of Ashoka, ARO, who have been leading with this. So, I am Akshay Parekh. I have been a political strategist, a public policy analyst, and a senior consultant by profession. Uh, I passed out from Young India Fellowship Ashoka University in 2015. So, it's a privilege to speak to you today. Uh, my vision for the Ashoka Alumni Association is simple: a caring, a creative, and a connected Ashoka. First, Ashoka Partners for Life. Launching this November, it will be a platform where Ashokans can connect for, marriages, for partnerships, for loved ones, whatever, and for collaborations, long-term collaborations. Uh, I also happen to launch an initiative. It's a very nascent format and highlighting the struggles faced by Ashokans recently affected by layoffs. So, as an Ashokan family member, we must stand beside them, provide priority in recruitment, and ensure that no Ashokan feels isolated. Second, a safe and just Ashoka for all workers. Ashoka thrives because of the people who serve it every day, from security staff to cafeteria teams. We must ensure dignity, fairness, and respect for every worker, reflecting the values that make Ashoka special. Third, empowering Ashokan entrepreneurs and employers. Our alumni are innovators, change makers. I envision Ashoka as a bridge between innovation and inclusion, where businesses grow responsibly, workers thrive, and sustainability is central. Together, we can create an ecosystem where Ashokan ideas translate into meaningful social and economic impact. Fourth, expanding the Ashokan network. From every city to every continent, no Ashokan should ever feel alone. Our network will connect alumni across generations, creating opportunities for mentorship, collaboration, and support. A truly global Ashoka family. Finally, celebrating Ashokan creativity and social impact, we will build platforms to showcase alumni talent in theater, art, music, writing, innovation across the world at a global stage. Additionally, an alumni-led social impact fund will empower alumni-led projects, proving that being an Ashokan is just not a privilege, but a responsibility to shape a just and Viksit Bharat. My dear family, Ashoka's greatest strength lies not only in intellect but in compassion. As your president, I will ensure that our alumni community is inclusive, inspired, and impactful. A place where every Ashokan feels supported, celebrated, and empowered. Let's make Ashoka a lifelong home, a family that stretches across cities, countries, and generations. Together, we will build the Ashoka that we all dreamt of. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Akshay, for those remarks and for keeping time, more especially. We now move on to Koisho Roy.
Ah, hey everyone, I'm Koshor, and before all of this began, I was actually building my own startup, which got acquired a couple of months ago. And now I'm stuck heading technology innovations at this company called Neurofin AI. But again, before even that, I was part of the founding undergraduate batch, which means, yeah, I mean, I am one of the original guinea pigs from the grand experiment of 2014. We were all united by a slightly crazy belief that we could build something new, something different, something from the ground up. Now, let's talk about another grand experiment that came right after the first undergraduate batch graduated, the Ashoka Alumni Association. I mean, most of us look at it as a ghost in our machines. Like, look at your emails. They're just spammed everywhere, like a this, a that. I get it. We think that that is engagement, but that's just a one-way information coming through and not exactly much constructive debate happening around it. It is debate, nevertheless. But right now, the alumni community, filled with founders, artists, researchers, change makers, investors, and anything under the sun. An association that's really good at existing. This election is all about changing that. We've seen it from the fact that we are standing here in the re-election debates. As I see it, we are presented with two different visions for the future. One vision is to turn the AAA into a very competent and professional networking club. We can get to some corporate partnerships, maybe like build out a branded credit card with some co-branding with some banks, maybe build out an IIT IIM Shadi clone, have things that exist, make connections, break connections. I don't know. It's a safe and well-trodden path. Another way is to just go the political soapbox way. A body that primarily focuses on activism, taking stances, fighting battles, engaging in active debate, and similar things under the sun. Both are fine ideas. I don't refute any of them. But do they really capture what it is that the community is truly capable of? Are we just a source of professional contacts, or is this a protest group? I believe we are so much more than that. Our most powerful asset is not in our collective resumes, is not by the umbrella brand of Ashoka, and definitely not by our political voices. It is raw and untapped potential that we all have that is waiting to be unlocked. So I'm proposing an entirely different path with my campaign. My entire platform is built on one single actionable idea: to build an engine of empowerment that drives us directly, that invests back in us. Forget the abstract promises. Let's talk about a real and structured plan. Let's build the Ashoka Alumni Association Skunk Works, a dedicated support system for alumni finishing their novel, any founder launching their startup, the academic with groundbreaking research, a place where alumni experts, be it lawyers, be it designers, be it strategists, help turn your vision into a viable plan along with actionable insights. Building on top of that, let's talk about launching the Ashoka Empowerment Fund, an alumni-led fund that grants seed capital behind the community's most promising projects. It can be any project under the sun, because who better to invest in the next big idea from Ashoka than Ashokans? We close the loop and we empower our own. And finally, let's create the Ashoka Network Multiplier. Right now, students face a sort of cluelessness when they are transitioning from being final year students, be it PhD, be it masters, be it YFs, which is a one-year program in itself, unless you do an MLS, and undergrads who spend 3 or 4 years in the university. They're clueless transitioning into the Ashoka Alumni Association. They don't know what's going on. They're just bombarded with a bunch of emails. No proper onboarding, maybe a talk on campus that half the people choose to ignore, and that's just it. This is my promise. With my campaign, I look to empower every single alumni. Less debate, more building. Laser sharp focus on building an institute that delivers tangible and life-changing value to every single part of its system, and something that future generations and past generations can all be proud of. Thank you.
Thank you, Kosho. Let's move on to Raul Magant.
Rahul has informed us that he won't be able to be part of the debate.
Thanks, Ruby. Um, yeah, so Raul informed us earlier, actually. Sorry for not mentioning that he had prior engagement that he was committed to and was unable to join us. So
Hi, David. So, you were not audible. Yeah, but I just want to check if I am audible or if you are not audible. Like, okay, cool. So, my name is Srinath. I am, of course, contesting for the president this time. I did not nominate myself in the beginning in the first round of elections, but then I thought that there was a lot of lack of motivation, and then probably we were not using the alumni network enough, and there was no engagement within the community. So I thought maybe I should give it a try and see if I can make some difference to the existing situation. So I identified 7 goals in which I would want to work, and these 7 are primarily related to leveraging the network and then ensuring that the community is very participative. So my first goal is about making the Ashoka Alumni Association relevant, primarily because in the latest election we saw that the turnout was around 4 or 5%, which was very pathetic. And considering a socially oriented university, or at least educationally socially oriented university like Ashoka, this participation was not reflective of its true education. And then also establish the Ashoka Alumni Association as one of the most influential networks in India, primarily because only when we have influence, I think we will be able to impact anything. And till then, it's not of much use if we have intentions, but we also need to find avenues to influence. So we need to be bringing together people in the government from Ashoka University, people who are in the industry in various sectors, whether it is communications or corporate or non-profit development, people working with the government, and then ensure that all of them are very well connected and supporting each other. I also want to spend some time on the constitution, because in the recent election commission, the issue was primarily related to the constitutional rules related to the voting system. So I want to see if anything to be done and identify any other areas which need to be amended. And then, of course, work with the founders, because we need their support a lot in case we want to move forward. Uh, Founders as well as the university, I mean the several centers that are there, and also the student government that is there to understand what is happening inside the university, and then work with them towards mutual benefit. And also the fifth goal is to ensure that we are all successful in our careers as well as in other walks of life. For example, in house hunting, or in let's say insurance. I've seen that there are other universities which have their own insurance policies available for the alumni. So maybe Ashoka can also develop its own insurance, uh, or find a collaborator to provide insurance to the alumni community. And then also to ensure that all directors are accountable to their manifestos, because I'm not sure how much of this is done in the previous councils, to collect the earlier manifestos and see how much of it is fulfilled by the end of their tenure. And another important thing that I think Ashoka has been recently been on the back foot is the social role that the university will play, because most of the recent time has been filled with founders commenting about why a liberal arts university, or the idea of Ashoka should not be very social. It can just stick itself to becoming a world-class institution without engaging much with the outside world. An example of this is the positions taken during the Operation Sindoor, where positions were not very prompt from the university. uh, so I want to enhance the social role of AA so that people feel that it is playing a role in the building of society as well as the larger country. And these are my 7 goals. And personally speaking, I am also an alumnus of 4 other universities. And I am currently a master's student at the University of Chicago. And I have work experience of close to 6 or 7 years in political consulting and government consulting. And that's all about my manifesto, or my vision and my personal credentials. I'm looking forward to serving you all and taking the questions from the election commissioner. Thank you.
Thank you, Srinath. I hope I'm audible now. My network is just a bit unstable, so I'll close my video. Thank you, Srinath, again. Let's have Sushil next.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. It's great to be here. Good evening. And yes, so I'll get straight to it. as a brief introduction, it seemed to me that we have a lot of consulting folks who are contesting for the post. I too started off as a consultant post my graduating from Ashoka in 2020. And post my stint in governance consulting, I've hopped around, did a bit of political consulting, have worked with a few startups, tried some of my own. And now I am a mix of a freelancer and a growth consultant for a couple of organizations. Um, and in terms of my vision for Ashoka and what led me to contest, I have a slightly different take, I think, in terms of how we view the Alumni Association and the organization as a whole. Um, we've seen how the election turnout has been low. That is a fact. But in my experience, what I've noticed and what I've personally experienced is that when we've had real needs faced by different members of the community, everything from say finding a house to getting a referral to finding somebody who is located, say, in a city in Europe that you might not really expect a member of the Ashoka community to be present in. I found that the sort of inorganic mechanisms that already exist have tended to work out pretty well already, in terms of finding a connect, finding some help. I see a lot of needs that are sometimes very unique come up in the community, and very often. And from what it seems to me, a lot of those organic requirements are met organically very much by the community. So rather than, I think, propose an idea where we, centralize more, processify more, and say that, okay, these are things that we will say, set up a platform for you to come and look for a house, or set up a platform for you to get a referral. I think the idea is, and the reason I am contesting is because I think one of my personal strengths is being able to relate with a wide range of people. And that's something I've done throughout the fellowship and before and beyond the fellowship as well. And from the people that I come across who are members of the community, I hear different levels of opinion. Even the people say who, for example, would not participate in the election and might not vote. A lot of them do actually use the community for different things, contribute in the community, help out different members who have different needs. I see that happening very much. So I guess my vision is, in that sense, to find what is working and continue to improve it, and to get more voices and more opinions from people who are part of the community but may not be active or maybe at different levels of activity, and try to incorporate that into the Alumni Association. And in terms of how I would view the role of the president, I think I view that across three sort of three areas. So I think the first is, defining the role, setting a vision for the AA itself in terms of, and there are procedural requirements as well as some identity-based requirements there. And I think the role of the president would be to, again, get more feedback from the community, those who are active participants and those who are not active participants, bake that into the AAA's identity itself. And that's something that I will try to do. The second is with respect to members and benefits for the community. I think here, while I've had some ideas, I think a lot of other presidential campaign candidates also have great ideas. I also was part of the debate yesterday. I was attending the roundtable yesterday, and I saw that a lot of directorial candidates also had wonderful ideas. And I think I would view more the role of the president as being able to help them execute, and also make sure that collaboratively the directors and the team as a whole works toward making sure that some of those things are realistically implemented. Also with partnering a lot with the existing institutions of the university, including the different centers, as well as the existing student body in the community. Also, one other thing that I would like to do is streamline the alumni journey itself, in terms of getting members to become part of the organization from day zero, keep them engaged, show them what the AAA has to offer and how they can contribute in the organization. And the last area that I would see the role of the president is in external positioning, as well as contributing to the university. And that's where I think we've heard some questions about, social positioning and taking firmer opinions as the alumni body. So I think I will also try my best to work on these three fronts. Thank you.
Thank you, Sushil. I love that all candidates are keeping time thus far. So we're going to end this round with Varun.
Thank you. Thank you, Sushil. I agree with almost everything that you had to present. So I'd begin off by, of course, mentioning what exactly the crux of my candidature is. Uh, Unlike what had been brought about, it is not just about offering perks or a branded credit card. For sure, it was one of the most noticeable features of my campaign, but it is mainly to target the crux of the problem that we face today. The crux of the problem that our alumni association, in my opinion, faces today is that, as Srinath was also pointing out, it is losing the sense of, let's imagine, relevance, so as to say. So the reason why this relevance is being lost is because of a lot of spamming, as my other counterparts have already mentioned, happens all across the channels that are being made. But that doesn't mean that the current channels are not working, as Sushil pointed out. A lot of it is already working out, wherein you're able to find people in whichever part of the world that you may be looking in and find a community that you can call your own. So all of that is already working. So it is about bettering the current system in place in and of itself in a lot of ways. But I don't agree with the route that one of my counterparts brought about of the activism route, because I believe the activism route cannot be a unifying factor. It would only be divisive, because each and every opinion, so as to say, because of how diverse our alumni body is going to break off various segments of the alumni body in and of itself. We want a unifying factor in and of itself, and that is the reason why any institute that you take into consideration, any institute that has been around for quite a bit of time, refrains from, of course, getting into activism by themselves. That doesn't mean that we do not grow up a spine and do not stand for issues when they matter. We, of course, need to, especially when it comes closer to home, as we saw with Operation Sindhu. And Professor Khan facing a lot of backlash because of his opinions being targeted. But I believe the current schematics of how it was handled by the previous alumni council was the best approach, wherein they got in touch with the family and figured out what the recourse should be, rather than, of course, going only the activism route. So what am I pitching for is, of course, a well-tuned alumni body. How do I achieve that is, of course, by having a proper networking mechanism. Networking is going to be important either which way, because no alumni community can function without funds, of course. And the funds will only come when people drive value out of it, right? You would only want to give back to the community that you would benefit something out of. It cannot be other way around. And right now we are currently unfortunately stuck in a cycle wherein we cannot come out of. It is like the chicken or the egg theory, wherein we don't know how to fix the other or the other. So the engagement will increase when people get any benefit out of it. It may be perks, it may be networking, it may be even a co-branded credit card, so as to say. So when people, of course, benefit all of these small things, that's when you will find them enrolling into the alumni emails. Half the time when the elections happen, you all see that it is only 6.5% voter turnout. But what happens behind the scene is half the people, especially in the UG batches, have not even enrolled for their alumni IDs. So, for example, that is the reason why the UG turnout in and of itself is quite low. When you have almost 1,000 people passing out every year now, it becomes very difficult to get them interested into coming back into the community after they're out. So although it shouldn't be the case, so they should have some, of course, perks coming out, whether it is, of course, as I told you, incentives or perks. And the funny part is that there is an insurance also in place that the previous alumni council was able to get in place. As Srinath was pointing out, that something that he wanted to bring about. But the funny part is that nobody knows about it. So the awareness in and of itself is missing. So half the time it is a problem of awareness. So awareness can only be tackled once people are onto the platform and are actually using it, and the spamming is tackled to a point wherein people only get the content that they're looking for, rather than like 100 different emails about 100 different things. So I believe structuring that in and of itself is going to be one of my key points. And then, of course, having accountability, as Srinath also pointed out, was one of my key points of candidature last time and this time around as well. So each and every directors combining their manifestos and ensuring that all of that is set in place and having check mechanisms on them as well in case someone is not performing well even after getting elected, then what can be the recourse? Something on those lines, but not as extreme as changing the entire constitution, of course, because what is working should not be, of course. If it isn't broke, we shouldn't fix it. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Varun, and a round of applause to all the candidates. And so we'll quickly move on into our segment. I hope I'm audible and clear for everyone. Is everyone? Okay, thanks. So this question is for all candidates, and please be quick and brief in your response. You only have 2 minutes in which you have to respond, and you are going to respond in the order in which you spoke. And this is the question: what's your approach to collaboration within the council and with the university administration? So how do you plan to balance alumni independence and institutional partnership? I'll repeat the question. The question is on collaboration and governance if you're elected as president. What's your approach to collaboration within the council and with the university administration? How do you plan to balance alumni independence and institutional partnership? So we're going to start with Akshay Barik, Koishore, Rahul, Srinath, and Sushil Varun in the order in which you spoke. Thank you. So, Akshay, please
Can
start.
you please type out the question as well?
And David, so I'll be very obliged if you actually could let people who want to respond first respond, because otherwise, like, I mean, some people might be prepared and some people might not be prepared with the immediate. So I might need some time to think. So if you could just let that.
Okay, that's absolutely fine. That's absolutely fine. So I will, because I have the question written, I will actually.
We can move in order, and whoever
Is there any candidate that is ready to? Yes. So who is ready to respond to the question?
we can go
Yes,
in
let's go,
order, and
Koishore.
whoever is the first person who's ready can just pick up the answer. We'll circle back again if people are
Yes.
answer, we can go by that.
Okay.
Have you put?
So are you ready to?
Have you put the question on chat box? Sorry to interrupt.
Sent it. Okay. So who's ready to start?
I can go first.
Yes, go for it, Koishore.
Sure. So the governance model that I actually want to focus on is powered by two things: execution and empowerment, rather than a conventional oversight that a president conventionally does. The core idea is to move beyond debate and start building tangible systems that deliver value to all alumni instead of a council that just manages. You propose a council that builds an engine of empowerment rather than just constructive debate and getting their hands dirty with things that does not concern alumni at all. Institutional collaboration among alumni to transform networks from a passive resource to an active system of mutually benefiting from each other and mutual growth. Community-led investments. The AAA Empowerment Fund that I spoke about is designed for the broad community involvement, where it is your turn to take back and give back to the community, not just for contributing money, but for any skill that you can contribute to anyone that is in need of it. Structured mentorship, the Ashoka Network multiplier that I spoke about, is basically for students transitioning from a student to an alumni by industry-specific mentorship goals, in mentorship circles and skill sharing workshops that will keep people engaged from their life cycle as a student as they transition on to alumni. And I also propose external partnerships, working actively with big organizations for certain brands, because we are living in a time in human history where we are seeing a paradigm shift from a lot of manual labor being automated, workflows being coming in, and the AI wave. So ultimately, the vision for the council is to facilitate a system where everyone can build and grow together.
Thanks, Kosho. Do we have anyone who's ready to go next?
Hi, can I get my 5 minutes, please?
Okay. Yes, you can. You're ready to speak now, Rahul?
Yeah. So yeah, I'm sorry I got a little late because I'm working today. Hello, am I audible?
No, thanks. So you can you can jump on and start.
Yeah, I'll quickly, briefly tell what my manifesto is, and then maybe I'll probably try to answer a few questions. But I'm sorry I'm working today and I'm extremely busy at this moment, but I still couldn't be on time because also a time difference. I'm in Europe right now. So briefly, I was at the YF from 2015 2016 batch, and I graduated from YF in 2016. After that, I went on to become a journalist, and then I'm currently doing my PhD in history from the University of Göttingen. And I have previously contested once for the post of president back during the times of COVID. But then my manifesto was pretty much similar back then, and I just want to briefly point to 6 points which I want to talk about in my manifesto and which I will be doing during the tenure of the president as well. And I've been working on this in various capacities in Ashoka while I was at Ashoka, and after that as well on these questions. And I don't want to talk about what I did, but then I think I will, my work will speak for what I stand for generally. So to the point, right? Like Ashoka Alumni Association has been a handmaiden of a few people in the Ashoka administration for a very long time. And it's important to get Ashoka Alumni Administration out of the clutches of these feudal lords in the administration. And it's for that you need to have people who are committed to a cause, and you need to have people who stand for the right values, which Ashoka professes, but never really actually walks the talk. So that's the first thing I'll be doing. I'll be putting all my weight behind an independent and a democratic functioning of the Ashoka Alumni Association, and make sure that it is not an extension of the university administration, and it is not a stenographer as well, because what most often Ashoka Alumni Association does is to just parrot the talk of the university administration. I'll make sure it doesn't do that. The first thing. The second thing is an active engagement with the Ashoka University student government, and I'll make sure that the causes which they've been fighting, which are very valid, which are very rightful causes for a very long time now, get the deserved support from from the Ashoka Alumni Association as well, and support their rights and causes and struggles. The third important thing, which I think is important in the context of the recent workers' strike of the housekeeping staff at Ashoka University, you have seen how the university administration curbed the right to strike of the workers, did not stand with the workers, and while patronizing them in the name of Ashoka family. So I think that's something which I would do as a president, put weight behind the rights of the workers and stand with the workers and force Ashoka administration to deal with the basic democratic rights of the workers in Ashoka and not patronize them. And fourthly, I would also make efforts to reduce the skyrocketing fee at Ashoka University. When I was there in 2015 and 2016, I remember the tuition fee was 6 lakh rupees. And even today, when I tell people that I'm from Ashoka, they would ask me, "Oh, you're so rich." Oh God, yeah, I'm not so rich. Come on, everyone should be able to get a chance to read and study Ashoka. And I think education should not be a commodity. And for all the talk we do about marginalized communities and oppressed communities, we should even be able to give education at a cheap price and at a price which is affordable for every common student and every person who is every working class Dalit Bahujan students in and across around India. So I think I will really put efforts to reduce the skyrocketing fee and ask the university administration to actually audit, tell us how much money you're earning, what you're doing with your fucking profits. Like tell us how much, what is the fee
Okay.
right now? How much
Rahul,
you're, sorry?
yeah, your time is up. Please just conclude your thought.
I'm just completing. Yeah, and I'll make sure that I have and Ashoka University has reservations in the university, and I'll also make sure that Ashoka University cut ties with Tel Aviv University, which it has its ties with, and Tel Aviv University is embroiled in the genocide, and it has blood on its hands. So I'll make sure Ashoka University will cut its ties with Tel Aviv University and does not have any exchange programs with Tel Aviv University, precisely because Tel Aviv University funds a lot of Israeli
Thank
defense
you so
forces.
much.
So, yeah.
Thank you, Rahul. Yeah, thank you, Rahul. Thank you, Rahul, and for especially for taking the time despite your busy schedule. I know earlier you sent an apology. So to the other candidates, I think that was enough time for us to have our thoughts on how we can respond to the question. And then, Rawa, I hope you've seen the question that for all the candidates you has already responded. So you have 2 minutes. Who's ready to speak? Or have thoughts on the question? So
Yeah, that's so.
Akshay, I'll start with you, and then I'll go to Srinath, Sushil, Varun, and
Uh, okay, David, so like, is it the same question? Because your voice was breaking, so it was difficult to follow.
It's the same
yes,
question
the
that he's
same
typed out.
question.
Okay. Okay, fine. So let me answer it. My approach to collaboration is actually rooted in the elements of or the concepts of mutual respect, parasper samman, uh, transparency, and also shared vision, which is also known as sanyuk drishti in this terminology. So I actually wanted to, like, within the council, what I wanted to ensure is every voice is heard, ideas are debated constructively, and the execution happens very efficiently. For example, in my recent initiative supporting laid off, Ashokans, I'm trying to engage with the alumni cross sectors and create a recruitment priority thread, a demonstration wherein a focused action that can produce tangible results is being undertaken. So with the university administration, I actually plan to build partnership or sahyog without compromising alumni independence. Initiatives like this laid off, supporting laid off Ashokans or Ashoka Partners for Life, and even the alumni-led social impact fund will align with institutional goals while preserving the Atmanirbharta or the self-reliance of our alumni network. The balance comes from clear objectives, accountability, and leveraging the strength of the alumni community, thereby bringing agility, innovation, grassroots execution, while the administration provides legitimacy and strategic support. In short, the collaboration for me is about creating maximum impact by combining the strengths of the alumni and the institution. This is how the Ashoka Parivar or the family grow stronger together, ensuring that the community is empowered, resilient, and future ready. Thank you.
Thank you, Akshay. Srinath?
Yeah, Dabit. So my approach to collaboration within the council, I think this question is more about interpersonal skills and being very uh, accessible and whenever someone wants us for help and whenever we need help, asking them in a manner that we need it. So within the council, I think I'll be very consultative, and I am also generally a skeptic. So I will be open-minded, and I think I can represent multiple viewpoints. But the main question probably is with the university administration. By administration, it could just be the centers that are already within Ashoka or with the founders. I think centers, I don't think there are any issues. I think if we are very specific about what we need, I am hopeful that they would be able to help us. But with the founders, maybe there might be some uh, differences in terms of the role that AA should be playing with respect to the vision of founders. There towards the alumni independence, I'm not sure if we have that much power to the power dynamic between the founders and the association at this stage. I don't think is to the extent that we can demand anything from them. I think I'll be collaborating as much as possible and then see if they're and work with them rather than offending or antagonizing them. That's all. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, Srinath. Sushil?
Yes, thank you. So I think there's two questions, which is one is with respect to how the relationship of the alumni association is with the university and how the organization itself will work. I'm of the opinion that part of the reason why the AAA has continued to be viewed more as an extension of the university is because the alumni association as an institution has has had some gap in being able to define a vision for itself and being able to. So I think it's important to remember that while the alumni association is an extension and is part of the university ecosystem, it is an independent body that is um, supposed to be representing the benefits and interests of its members, which are the alumni. And there, I think the priorities of the alumni are very different from the institution itself, as well as the students who are currently part of the institution. So I think the goal would be that using the representative voices that we have within the community, and also, I think one of my priorities will be to find more ways to incorporate more regular feedback from within the community. So right now, for example, that tends to be mostly emails, where, for example, a couple of months ago, we'd had an email thread soliciting more feedback on the changes in the Ashoka alumni community. But I think there are ways and tools that allow us to get more frequent and more regular inputs from its members. So I think that will be the first goal. With respect to, I think, the functioning within the organization, I think as president, one of the key roles is to make sure that the directors can work well and work together and work with all bodies and institutions that need to work together. So I have quite a bit of experience in being able to set up processes because I think it's important to have processes rather than um, just say independent ideas for good quality execution. And I think my goal will be to set that up within the alumni association, and that part of that will also include making sure that we have more transparency.
Thank you, Sushil. Varun?
Yeah. So regarding this question per se, like of course, working together with a larger team becomes very important because it is impossible to handle this big of an alumni network without getting the directors also involved. So, for example, as I was mentioning, accountability is going to be essential. So, having clear job responsibilities being, of course, allocated and also taking input about their own manifestos is also very important. Whatever they have pitched to the alumni body needs to be followed because that's what they got elected to do. So combining all of that and then assigning responsibilities based upon that, and of course being all hands-on with all of it, like directors of national chapters, right, handling all the national chapters perfectly well. Then international chapters, setting up new chapters internationally as well, wherever there are hotspots. And then, of course, treasury working well with the fundraising as well as fund allocation. So focusing with the treasury, director of treasury and fundraising would be very important because nothing happens without enough funds. We won't be able to fulfill any of our promises if there is not enough funds that is available to us. We can't be only dependent upon the funds that university provides us, which has been the case so far in the Ashoka Alumni Association's history. So we need to be, of course, self-sufficient also, as is the case with all the institutes that we find around us, which are respected in terms of their alumni body. So that and external partnerships, working with the directors of external partnership is also very important. But at the same time, the second part of the question is ensuring the alumni independence. That becomes very important because, of course, we do not want to be taken for a ride. However, that doesn't mean that we straight off start attacking them for their views. We need to find a symbiotic relationship wherein we live and let be. So that would be my approach to it. At the same time, ensuring that we are not coerced and doing something that, or we are just a beacon, like we are just a mouthpiece for them. So, but at the same time, let them be.
Thank you, thank you, Varun. Thank you, Varun. Rahul, did you get the question?
Yes, I did. Thank you. So, yes, I think my most important project during the uh, tenure is going to be standing with the stakeholders of the university, with the alumni, with the students, with the workers, with the employees, with the professors and the faculty. And if so, it means that I am in conflict with the administration, so be it. So I wouldn't shy away from my major responsibilities because I am going to get some recommendation letters from the founders. And secondly, I will make sure that the university, that the alumni association is as democratic and transparent as it can, and and it follows the constitution as much as it can, and it should. So if in conversations with directors and other members of the alumni council, the constitution is going to be the most important document on which I'll be conducting my daily business. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, everyone, for those responses. We will now quickly throw it to the audience. If you have questions, you can throw it in the chat box or you can raise your hand and we'll be able to recognize you. And for this particular one, you just have a minute to respond. So there's a question for Srinath. Your manifesto, unlike those of most other candidates, seemed to lack any concrete plan. It seemed to be a very basic extrapolation of what president should do. You have said you will make Ashoka alumni most relevant. Exactly how will you do this? You also spoke about accountability of directors. What about accountability of president, especially in a case where there's zero mention of initiative and deliverables? Srinath, quickly respond to that. If you have a question, please raise your hand or just quickly type it in the chat box.
Yeah, David. Yeah, it is correct that my manifesto hasn't got any clear initiatives or something like that. But I think that is also the nature of this election, primarily because this is not an election where the president will propose a vision for the whole community. Because when in such a situation, the president also has the opportunity to choose the directors and people who are aligned with his or her vision. In this case, we have an election where the directors themselves are reaching out to the people and they have their own visions. And I see the role of president to be primarily related to reconciling the visions of many different directors, apart from myself being acting as a very facilitator of most of their manifesto ideas, because they were all represented or elected by the people. And my role is to facilitate them and in a larger framework of the vision that I've set up. I think that's because of the nature of the election that I've taken this approach rather than proposing any ideas. Thanks for the question.
Thanks, Srinath. Garima, please unmute and ask your question.
Hi, I'm Garima Shekhar from the YF cohort of 2013, and I'm also the uncontested batch representative for this year's council. My question is directed toward Kishore. I read your manifesto, and you focused more on supporting alumni with projects, funding, and networks and all the other things that you mentioned. I see that it's heavily startup focused, given your background, of course. So do you, and of course it extends the work that Ashoka is doing with the Entrepreneurship Center, but do you think that this is, very narrow, given the the role of a president, where there are so many other aspects of the university and alumina that the president may have to look after? And what are some challenges that you foresee in the implementation of your manifesto? Thank you.
So, firstly, it's Koshore. Yeah, no issues. Secondly, if you take a closer look at my manifesto, I propose 3 different things under the gambit of engine of empowerment, which I have termed it. Essentially, the Ashoka Skunk Works, which is a place where people can come together and build anything. It may not be a startup, it may not be a project. It can be an app, it can be a social cause that you care about that would require some amount of funding from the community, with return, without return, profits, not profits, writing your own book, building your own prototype, thinking about something, ideating, doing groundbreaking research, getting funding for that, everything, which circles back to my second point, the AAA Empowerment Fund. Essentially, Ashokans, helping Ashokans in the most Ashokan way possible. Building a fund gathered from alumni and even students, if we can and do accommodate that in the future, essentially building up a corpus which will help all of these projects thrive and prosper. And the third thing is basically making students a part of the alumni committee before they even get inducted into it. Because at this day and age, with the growing number of alumni graduating each year on year, post-COVID, there has been a disconnect between the in-person, offline things that have been going on. But that disconnect needs to be solved. And I guess that is time's up. I hope I did end up answering your question. Happy to debate outside of this.
Thanks.
Can I take
Koshore.
Sabha's question?
Okay. Please, all candidates, just ensure that you've read all the question that has been posted, because all of you have to respond to it in a minute. So you can start, Varun, and the rest will follow.
Sure. Thanks, Sabha, for that relevant question. Of course, I completely agree with your sentiments. The UG participation is quite low. The reason, of course, is not that they have not activated their emails. That is precisely a byproduct of what is happening. The reason behind that, of course, is because I would like to believe that UGs don't really understand how good they have it over here at Ashoka. However, YFs, because they have completed a degree or two and then come to Ashoka, they realize the value that Ashoka brings to them. However, UGs take it for granted. Unfortunately, I am a UG myself. So, but I believe to change that, of course, there should be tangible benefits that should be given to the UGs. So that when they make this transition right after Ashoka, they actually benefit something. It was as simple as a Zomato subscription that was given by the previous council, which was very beneficial to get a lot of people in my batch to enroll into the alumni ID. So, and then of course, they got tired out of it because of the spamming. So it can be a push and pull. So first, of course, you attract them and then of course, retain them as well. So the retention is not happening. Even if there are people coming in, then the retention, they're going away because of the spamming or 10 different. I'm not saying that there should not be fundraisers when there are people in need, but of course, there should be a set mechanism for it. Perhaps that is also laid down in my manifesto, so that the spamming, of course, wherein people find themselves struggling with, can be tackled. So I believe that can be one outlook towards it. That's my take on it.
Thanks. Is anyone else ready to respond to the same question?
Yeah.
It was primarily to Koishore and I, because we are the two UG candidates,
Okay.
I believe.
Yes, Koishore.
So, hi, Sabha, thanks for the question. You're right to be skeptical about the fact that this is just an awareness issue. But while things like activating, I mean, for the last few years, post-COVID mostly, we see that the Alumni Council is mostly debates on emails. And it's just about finding your flatmate, getting in touch with people that you have lost connect with very occasionally. But the real reason for the engagement gap is a value proposition gap, not merely just an engagement gap. The AA largely operates on, okay, 2 years mein there is an election. This year, there was a re-election, 2 sets of presidential debates, 2 sets of directorial debates. We're doing things in loops. But for recent UG grads, I mean, I have the privilege of meeting a couple of them. And for recent UG grads, the problem is that they don't really care enough to just open up their alumni email ID and just see what's going on. I ask, one of my interns in my org is from Ashoka, and I asked him, hey, are you keeping up with the presidential debate or anything that's going on in the elections? They had zero clue. So essentially what I propose and what I envision the AAA council to be is that you solve this awareness gap by engaging people effectively right from the time that they are students and continue that active support when they transition on to being alumni so that they don't remain clueless in this new world that we are currently experiencing post 2022. That's that.
I'd like to respond as
Thanks,
well.
Kosh. Okay, go for it, Srinath.
Yeah, David.
Please keep time.
One of the reasons at the time of my nominations, I saw that there were very less UG candidates, but definitely it would help. There is more when there is more representation from the UGs. I think we should catch them when in the initial stages, like whenever they become the alumni. Because I saw with the other universities that if in the initial times, if the contact or if the engagement with the new graduates is lost, then it'll be difficult for us to pull them back into the network. So I think we should be doing something about taking them as quickly as possible as soon as they graduate. Yeah, that's my answer.
Thanks. Do the other candidates have a response to this question?
Yes,
Thanks.
I can
If not,
also just quickly
okay,
chime
yes,
in.
for sure.
Yeah, yeah.
Let's go.
I think I agree with some thoughts that have been shared already. I think there are 2 things here. One, which is the ease and the time at which they're being onboarded to the community, and the second is the value proposition idea that Srinath, I think, just mentioned, and I think Koshor just mentioned as well. And I think again, I would go back and state my opinion that when there is a need and that need has been solved through the community, we've seen that most members are willing to, take the process and go through it and get onboarded when required, right? So I think the goal of the AA shouldn't be to mandate participation or engagement. And I think the goal shouldn't be that we have more numbers. I think the idea is that if you are basically just let everyone know in the beginning that this is what the AA offers. And if you don't want to sign up now, completely all right. But if and when you do, this is how you do it. I think simplify that, make that easy, and have enough value propositions for people to sign up. I think that's the way to solve this. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
I think Zumani is not audible right now. Koshor, the question is addressed to you.
The other, am I audible?
Better now, yeah.
Okay, perfect. So I'll not take the follow-up question for Koisho due to time. I think you can answer that question privately, Koisho. And I've seen we do not have any other question from the participants. So candidates, this is your time to give your closing statements. You each have 2 minutes. Why should you be the next president of the Alumni Council at Ashoka? In the order in which you spoke. So we'll start with Akshay.
Okay. So Zumani, should I start?
Yes, please start.
Oh, okay. So I'll keep it very brief. Uh, for the last decade that I have been engaging with the Ashoka community, and as the president of the Alumni Association, I would keep on trying to act more, implement more, ideate more, along with the entire family of Ashoka, so that all our ideas, creative ideas, and all kinds of ideas get into action right away. So I have been a person who has always believed in actions, and that is something that I would want to bring into the entire association. So thank you.
Romani?
Kushal, you can go ahead.
Cool. Closing statements. My promise to you guys is really simple. It's all about execution, laser sharp building, and building an organization that delivers tangible, life-changing value to every single individual member. This is my commitment. Less debate, more building. Because an alumni association that helps launch the next great social or corporate enterprise, that funds critical new research, or that supports a budding artist that just graduated, is basically what we should strive to create, to keep not only the current students who will transition on to becoming alumni engaged, but also the current alumni who have just almost forgotten about the Alumni Association in the back of their heads. It's about empowering the creators, the thinkers, the leaders, the misfits, the change makers within our communities to succeed. The role of a president is to serve the alumni and not just to do whatever they want to beyond alumni scope and or peddle their own political agenda. I'm here today not to just ask for your vote. Honestly, the last thing we need is another round of polite applause followed by another 2 years of comfortable inaction. I'm here to thank you for being here, and I want this association to grow into something that we all can be proud of in the years to come. It is your task as an alumni to exercise your right and vote for whoever you feel like genuinely brings out the vision of a president and can change the narrative that has been going on for the past 8 years. Vote for a vision and not just empty words and promises. And definitely, let's build something more powerful, more useful, and something real together. Thank you.
Thank you, Koisho. Srinath, you're next.
It is a very difficult question to me because I'm also a skeptic in general. Uh, Definitely, there were many visions for the previous alumni council members as well, and still they have not delivered much. But an important fact is that the alumni community is growing now, and I think we need to take a relook at the role of a alumni association itself, and uh, I think I'll be very interested on that aspect to see where 10 years down the line or 15 years down the line, we will be the most influential alumni network in the country who can not just influence the policies of Ashoka, but also contribute ourselves to the larger country and nation building. So I believe that if someone may be interested in such a larger goal for the community, then probably they should consider voting for me. Yeah.
Thank you, Srinath. Sushil?
Thank you. So to wrap up, I think my vision is, as I shared in the beginning, I think the Alumni Association is performing a lot of functions for the members of the community. And I think as president, the way I envision the council working is to really, I think, continue what's been working so far, improve the frequency and quality of feedback that we're taking in, both as part of the members of the council as well as from the larger community. And as I had shared initially, I think set up a concrete identity for the AAA so that we can demand more independence and work independently, using the feedback that we've collaboratively sort of harnessed. And I think we've heard different ranges of opinions about the work that's been done so far, but I would still be of the opinion that members of the community are drawing value from the community when required. So I think the goal of the council and the association as a whole is to really, not break what's already working, as I think somebody's already mentioned, and also for the vision that a lot of directors have set. I think yesterday something that was raised is that a lot of the centers in Ashoka are performing some of those roles already. So I think as the council, the goal is to really identify which of these visions are feasible, and from those things really try to build processes to make that happen. And also hopefully keep more members of the community engaged while we do it. So I guess to summarize, the vision I have as president would be to identify what's been working and keep it going, get more feedback, and build a stronger identity that people can associate with as we continue as alum. Thank you.
Thank you, Sushil. Thank you, Srinath, and thank you, Koishore, for all those interesting ideas. I really loved what you all presented. Like coming to my closing statement, I want to focus only on three things, of course. First is collaboration. The second one is, of course, accountability. And the third one being results. So collaboration, of course, working with all the directors for various profiles that they have got going and whatever they have promised, along with my basic set of ideas that I do have for those particular portfolios as well, sitting together, discussing those out. Because end of the day, the result that we want to work towards is more engagement. That has been across the board, I believe, throughout the 6 speeches that we have heard. Majorly, at least 5 of us focused on getting engagement, like more engagement, so that, of course, as Srinath pointed out, it becomes more relevant, and we all benefit a lot more out of it. That's how everyone will be interested, and that would be the hook end of the day. So that is the result that we want to focus towards. How it happens is, of course, through accountability. So having some provisions wherein people are not just sitting there just for the position's sake, or farming for LORs, as someone pointed out, as I think the 6th candidate pointed out. So I believe accountability is the way to go. So perhaps introducing accountability is going to be one of my key cornerstones, wherein not just for the directors, but also for the president, there is accountability in case people like the council at large thinks that they're not performing well. Then, and of course, accountability also happens through quarterly reports, as I have pointed out in my manifesto, instead of annual reports during the weekender, quarterly reports, so that people can engage. And then if people, if the council in and of itself feels that someone is not performing, then having proper check mechanisms to address that. So that's how clearly my vision translates into 3 pillars per se. First is, of course, collaboration. Second is accountability. And third is the results. And that's all. Thank you. Thanks a lot for everyone for joining in. And thank you for my counterparts as well.
Thank you. And round of applause to Akshay Barik, Koishore Roy, Rahul Maganti, the 6 presidential candidates that we have, presidential debates. And just one portal will open on Friday and it will close on 19th October, 11:59 p.m. You have enough time to encourage everyone to vote and to ensure that they participate in this election before they go out and celebrate Diwali. Thank you so much, everyone. Good afternoon from here and good evening. Thank you for participating and take care.
Thank you all for joining.
Thank you, everyone.